it's pulling the trigger. Meta, parent company to Facebook and Instagram, has begun blocking news content to Canadians, a process it says will take weeks.
They don't want to be regulated. They don't want to be forced to pay for news. And they are powerful enough to be able to say, well, we just won't play this game. We'll just leave it.
Something the Canadian government's Online News Act would make them do. It would require companies like Google and Meta to compensate news organizations for posting their content.
Commercial media companies aren't making the money they used to. This is an attempt to say, well, the platforms are making huge amounts of money from digital advertising. They dominate digital advertising. Let's redistribute that wealth.
Let's say you follow CBC News on Instagram. Right now, you'd be able to pick from any of their posts. But in the coming weeks, you might instead see something like this. The federal government has always maintained its law is meant to bolster journalism in Canada, both big and small. The Online News Act is modeled after a similar law in Australia. There, news was banned by Meta briefly until the government and tech companies struck a deal. Critics say Meta likely doesn't think that's possible in Canada.
They, if anything, are more likely to stand firm on this than what we saw in Australia, where there was an opening to negotiate with the government. Here, there really isn't much to negotiate with the government. The law's already passed, and the government keeps doubling down.
And the battle continues. In a statement, Meta Canada's head of public policy says the Online News Act is based on the incorrect premise that Meta benefits unfairly from news content shared on our platforms. Heritage Minister Pascal Saint-Onge fired back, saying this is irresponsible, continuing with, if the government can't stand up for Canadians against tech giants, who will?
Now, Sarah, this decision from Meta obviously has an effect on CBC as a media organization. What is this corporation's position?
Well, CBC Radio-Canada re-echoing in a way what the Heritage Minister said. They're saying this move from Meta is irresponsible, that it's an abuse of their market power. In a press release, the corporation said that this move leaves people who rely on the platform for news with unverified sources on their feeds, and they are hoping and asking Meta to reconsider its decision.